Hey there, curious minds. Welcome to I Wonder, the show where we explore the questions you've been wondering about. Today's question comes from Edie, who's in Vancouver and is 14 years old. Edie asked, "Why is the sky blue?" That's something many of us wonder about and have probably asked the question a time or two ourselves. So let's dive into this classic question and talk about the science behind the colors of the sky, all while uncovering some secrets of sunlight, air, and color.
Wow.
Alright, let's begin with light itself. Sunlight, which looks white to us, is actually made up of all the colors of the rainbow. You might have seen this if you've ever shone a light through a prism or noticed a rainbow after a rain shower. White light is really a mix of red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet.
Correct!
Basically all the colors that we can see with our eyes. And together they make up what's called the visible spectrum. An easy way to remember the colors of the visible spectrum is that they spell out the name Roy G. Biv.
Duh!
But here's where it gets really fascinating. Each of these colors travels as light waves, but they're not all the same.
What?
Blue light waves are actually shorter and smaller, while red light waves are longer and move more smoothly. This difference in wavelength is the key to why we see a blue sky. Blue light waves are only about 475 nanometers long. For comparison, a human hair is about 100,000 nanometers wide.
Crazy!
The shorter length of blue light waves makes them scatter more easily than the longer red waves, which is a big part of why the sky is blue. The role of the Earth's atmosphere. So now we know that sunlight contains all colors. But then why do we only see blue when we look up at the sky? To answer that, let's talk about the Earth's atmosphere.
Okay.
When sunlight reaches Earth, it doesn't travel straight down to the ground. Instead, it passes through the atmosphere, which is filled with tiny particles, like molecules of oxygen and nitrogen. When the light hits these particles, it scatters or bounces in all directions. The scattering process is crucial to the colors we see. As sunlight moves through the atmosphere, blue light, because of its shorter wavelength, scatters more easily than the other colors. This means that as the sunlight reaches us, the blue light is scattered all around, filling the sky with a blue glow.
Oh.
This process is called Rayleigh scattering, named after the scientist Lord Rayleigh, who discovered how light interacts with small particles in the atmosphere.
Ha-ha! Yeah!
So, the next time you look up at the blue sky, you can thank Rayleigh for uncovering this cool process. Have you noticed that the sky doesn't always look the same shade of blue, though? On some days it looks pale and hazy, while on other days it's a deep, vibrant blue. The color and intensity of the blue sky depends on a few factors, such as how much dust or pollution is in the air and the position of the sun. When there are more particles in the atmosphere, like dust or water vapor, the light has to scatter through all those particles, making the blue appear lighter, or even giving the sky a white or grayish hue. That's why after a rainstorm, the sky might look clear and more intensely blue. The rain has washed out some of the particles that scatter the light. A similar effect happens in areas with lots of air pollution. The extra particles in the atmosphere scatter the light more randomly, which can make the blue appear faded.
Wow!
Why does the sky change colors? Now, if you've ever watched a sunrise or sunset, you've probably noticed that the sky can look orange, pink, or even red. So why isn't the sky always blue?
Excuse me?
The answer lies in the position of the sun. During sunrise or sunset, the sun is much lower on the horizon, so its light has to travel through a great thickness of the Earth's atmosphere before reaching our eyes. As it travels this longer distance, much of the blue and violet light gets scattered out of view. That leaves the longer red, orange, and yellow wavelengths to dominate, which is why we see those beautiful warm colors at sunrise and sunset.
Oh.
Sunsets and sunrises are especially stunning because of how the light interacts with dust, water droplets, and other particles in the atmosphere. As the sun dips lower, it highlights these particles, creating even more scattering and producing vivid colors that can range from bright orange to deep purple. The atmosphere essentially acts as a filter, and the lower the sun is, the more intense this filtering effect becomes. This natural phenomenon means that we get a daily light show just from the way the sun's light moves through the atmosphere. Now, let's look at some historical theories and how people explain the blue sky. Before scientists like Lord Rayleigh uncovered the physics behind the blue sky, people had their own ideas about why the sky looked the way it did. Ancient Greek philosophers like Aristotle thought the sky might be blue because of the moisture in the air, believing that blue was the natural color of wetness. In the 1600s, Isaac Newton discovered that white light was made up of many colors. But it wasn't until the 19th century that scientists truly understood how Rayleigh scattering worked.
Correct!
Learning about light and color over time helped us make sense of something that seemed mysterious for so long. It's amazing to think that something as simple as a blue sky could lead to centuries of curiosity and discovery.
Crazy!
Fun fact, why don't we see violet? Here's an interesting twist. You might wonder why the sky isn't violet, since violet light waves are even shorter than blue and would theoretically scatter even more. It turns out the answer has to do with human vision. Humans have 3 types of color receptors called cones, which are most sensitive to red, green, and blue light. While violet light is present in the atmosphere, our eyes don't pick it up as strongly as blue. In addition, there's more blue in sunlight than violet. So when our eyes mix all this scattered light together, we perceive the color as blue rather than violet.
Amazing!
It's fascinating to think that the sky might look violet to a creature with different color receptors, but to us, it appears blue. Our perception of the sky's color is shaped not only by the physical scattering of light, but also by the way our eyes and brains interpret that light. Here's some fun facts about the colors of the sky.
Yay!
Did you know that during certain weather conditions, the sky can appear green?
What?
This can happen when storms are brewing, especially when there's a lot of moisture in the air. A greenish sky often indicates that hail is present or that a thunderstorm is on the way. This unique color comes from the specific way light scatters through the dense, moisture-heavy clouds, creating an eerie green glow.
Wow.
Another cool fact, in the Arctic and Antarctic, the sun stays low on the horizon for much of the year, creating extended sunrises and sunsets. This unique position gives the sky amazing shades of pink, purple, and even deep blue that lasts for hours. Imagine seeing a sunset that goes on for half the day.
Oh my god.
So to answer Edie's question, the sky looks blue because sunlight scatters in all directions when it hits particles in the Earth's atmosphere. Blue light waves, which are shorter and more easily scattered, fill the sky with blue light during the day. At sunrise and sunset, the angle of the sun causes the light to travel further through the atmosphere, scattering out the blue light and leaving behind shades of red and orange. Thanks to Edie for sending in such a curious question. And remember, if you have a question you're curious about, send it our way to www.iwonderpodcast.com. and we might just feature it in our next episode of I Wonder. Until next time, stay curious and keep wondering.